Hello, this the 627 show. Today, special guest is Hudson. Glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much. Greetings.
What's the topic of discussion today?
I'm going to look at some age-old problems that sort of circulate, planet Earth, quite simply, that are age-old. Always here, not going anywhere, not really an agenda for them to go anywhere.
Okay, go ahead.
And they're quite simple, really, in terms of, they can be dealt with. Poverty, for example.
Right.
I walk around and I see, in my area where I live, and this is real, I always try to start with personal experiences. I can identify, I can take you and identify buildings that have literally been vacant for 20 years.
Vacant for 20?
Vacant for 20 solid years.
20 years, and there's a serious housing problem.
That's right.
And they can't put nobody in these buildings.
Yeah. Now what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what the rules are, and this is the thing, it doesn't matter what, I'm sure some brilliant politician would come and explain to me perfectly why that is there for 20 years and people are homeless on the street. I'm sure they would have an explanation, I've got no doubt. And I'm sure the explanation would make perfect sense. But it could never justify whatever the reasons are they would give me, is what I'm saying.
Right.
They would explain it expertly and politically and explain why it's there empty for 20 years. But that can never justify that while it's there for 20 years, regardless of the reason they would give me, that somebody's also sleeping on the street for 20 years. That can't be justified, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, no matter what the reason is, how can that be above the fact that somebody's on the street homeless? So once that problem can be solved, you see, they'll do a lot of politics, and pass things through Parliament and bylaws and rules and regulations, but what they really need to do is just scrap all that and give somebody somewhere to live. It would solve the problem. It would solve the housing problem. We've constantly got this ongoing housing problem where people are literally clearing out their places now because there's no hope. What I'm saying is, here is a problem right in front of you. It doesn't need any politics. It doesn't need them to go into the Westminster and thrash it out, or write new laws, or write some 600-page paper as to why it's there. Just fix the problem. Open the building, let people sleep in it, even if it's only temporary. What I'm saying is, get people off the street. If it's the case that they have a justifiable reason why it has to be empty, even if it's on a temporary basis, they get people in there, maybe 1 year, 2 years, or whatever, until, if they're genuinely looking for somewhere for them to live, they should house them there temporarily. And if something else is really underway, for people to find somewhere to live, then house them there temporarily, 1 year, 2 years, and then take them out and put them in the home. But there should be that gap. There shouldn't be that space in between that place being vacant until they use it for whatever they want to use it for, and people waiting for a house in this. That gap should be non-existent. They should be in there temporarily, and then they remove them out of there when there are houses available. But are they going to do this? No. Because, you know why? Because if they did, it would solve the problem. And government's not really interested in solving problems. And that would cut out the middleman. There would be no need for them to keep going into Parliament and trying to show that they're doing the job. Sometimes I ask myself, it would be a lot easier to actually do the job rather than try to convince the public that they're doing the job. This is what I never understand. They go through all this rigmarole trying to convince you that they're trying to solve the problems instead of actually solving them. What I'm saying is, the energy that takes, the energy that it takes to convince the public that they have good intentions, it would be easier to really have those good intentions by doing, for example, what I just said. And that's on poverty. And that would fix a couple of problems. It would fix the housing problem, quite simply. It would get people off the street. And take, for example, war, for example. They talk. You have certain groups that sort of have an anti-coalition, anti-war coalitions. They're doing the job that the government really should be doing. Trying to stop, but they don't really have the teeth. To really try. War is big business. There is no intention to stop war.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah, war makes money. If war ceased, as they pretend that they want war to cease, that would be equivalent to a big company like John Lewis or something going out of business. A lot of money would be gone.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So war, we have to have war because it's the biggest going. It's one of the biggest businesses, if not the biggest going. Greed is another one. And then a good example is the National Lottery. It cannot be right that all I have to do is for X amount of time keep, buying a ticket, and then I may eventually end up with £20 million. £20 million can be shared. What I'm saying is, how is £20 million going to one individual helping poverty? It's not.
Who said the 20 million is supposed to help poverty?
Huh? No, what I'm saying is, if one person scratches the card and they end up winning 20 million for one individual, shouldn't that be shared? Shouldn't there be a better system to the lottery? That's what I'm thinking. There should be a better system.
I don't think so.
Why not?
What I think is the person who won the 20 million wins the 20 million, because that's the deal, right? You play the card and you win a prize.
But it's a rip-off. It's at the expense of everybody else's money. Everybody's putting something in there and one person wins.
No, what I'm saying, there's a pool of money, right? Say, for instance, now, everybody buy the lottery ticket and say 30 million was collected, right? 20 million go to the winner, and then the other 10 million is supposed to go for good causes. But they don't go for good causes.
Right.
The operators of the lottery, they give the money to the politicians, the government, who allow them the license to run the lottery in the country. That's how it works. So the lottery company gets some of the money, but most of the money, I presume, goes to, like I said, the government who allow them to operate in the first place. So the government be like a mafia, and the mafia give them permission to operate the lottery, give them a license to operate the lottery, so they get the money. So I don't think the person who won 20 million is supposed to share it, but the 10 million, that should be shared for good, for good causes.
I'm not saying they necessarily have to share it. Fair dues that they won it, but I'm just thinking in an ideal world that people fair dues that they won it. But I'm just thinking in an ideal world where they're supposed to be sharing and caring. Of course, we know these don't exist, but let's go ideal for a while. In an ideal world, you know, where things could be more equally balanced. I mean, me personally, but obviously, you know, it's an individual thing. Me personally, I wouldn't want to have 20 minutes. Why not just make, you know, why not just create a more level playing field?
The problem is, the only
one person don't need 20 minutes.
You know, the only reason the people done the lottery in the first place is because they thought they was going to win 20 million.
Right.
So once you take the 20 million out of the agenda, no one's going to do it.
Right.
Like this city show on TV, he wants to be a millionaire. The only reason people watch the shows because they think someone's going to be a millionaire. But the truth is, nobody's ever been a millionaire. And the one person that was a millionaire, there was a big investigation to prove that they cheated.
So you're saying who wants to be a millionaire? Nobody's actually become a millionaire?
I think maybe 2 people in the whole history of the game became millionaires. And I know one of the people who won, there was a big investigation to prove they were cheating. They were cheating this way, they were cheating that way.
I remember hearing that.
It was ridiculous. So it's like, if you don't want anybody to be a millionaire, why have the show in the first place? And when I said it's the normal, ordinary people, like, why shouldn't the people win the million? The one guy actually said I was a fool.
Right. I understand.
I don't even know the guy. I was just doing my film extra work. We got into the conversation. I was like, they're supposed to win the million. I think they said I was a dickhead or something.
Right. Okay.
I wanted to punch him in the face.
Okay.
I don't even know him. He's calling me a dickhead. Because I'm doing my job. I had to take it.
Because you're there to say something that you're not supposed to say. You know,
if you don't want someone to be a millionaire, don't have a show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Right, of course. Of course. I suppose the real millions are maybe who's behind the show. I'm guessing that's where the real millions are, you know, the production behind the show. Whoever divides or creates the show. I'm guessing that's where the money goes. Yeah, but fair enough that they've won it. But I'm just saying, you know, in an ideal world, what I'm saying is these age-old problems, you see, they actually, because you see, money makes the world go round. Another one, for example, everybody can't get jobs. It's about, I mean, they can. You know, but once again, we have to go to the ideal world. But outside of the ideal world, if you think about it for a second, there's no way everybody that's in a job centre unemployed is going to get a job. Because it would fix the problem.
Right. And
governments are not interested in fixing the problem.
Well, like you said, right, the government's not interested in fixing the problem, and now they got all these 0-hour contracts. So you have a job, but you might only work, 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week. How you gonna pay your bills if you work 40, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week? Now they're cutting your job to 20 hours a week. How you gonna pay your bills? So, like you said, the government be causing all kinds of problems. And when you go to the internet, you see some videos that they want to call conspiracy theory. It starts to make sense. It's making true. It's like they're trying to destroy the middle class. They want everybody to be in poverty.
And fight
they're fighting against each other. They want us all to be in debt. And that seems to be what's making sense now. The government, the system, don't want to solve nothing, just like you say.
They don't. Because you see, and well, you know, they've got to create a system going where basically they pit, you know, different so-called classes or groups of people against each other, so that they pick the so-called middle class against the working class, and vice versa. By the policies and the law that they make. Like, for example, you know, one thing that they always do is, like, for example, the government come into power on the idea that they're going to really come down heavy on what they call dole bludgers or benefit sheets. You know, and other people who are not rich, like the yummy mummies and people like that, for example, think, yeah, we like the laws that incoming government are proposing, because it'll get what they call the curtain shifters out going to work instead of shifting their curtain. That's what they call them when we're going to work. But what they don't really, but you know, so that's what they put out there, that we're going to really come down on the benefit sheet. And those who think that there are too many people cheating and that they know so many people because they live in their era, they think, yeah, I like that the government's doing that. But then what they don't really think about is how that's going to affect, how that's going to impact on them. Because when they see, the tricky word that they use is benefits. You see, and every time they use that word benefits, we're going to come down on the benefit sheet. Remember, that's the wide word. They use the word benefits in the context of job seekers allowance, but that's not what benefits is. So when they say when the government says we're going to come down on the benefit sheet, these arrogant people are thinking that benefits means job seekers allowance. So they say, yeah, that guy over there, or that woman over there is working, he's getting job seekers allowance. But that's not what they mean by benefits. Benefits, that's just one title that comes with a benefit. Benefits is a broad term. Benefits could be the money you get as a single parent. Benefits could be job seekers allowance. Benefits could be disability allowance. Yes, but what I'm saying is these people are so stupid, they just take the word benefits, we're finally going to get those job seeker sheets. That's not what they mean. They also mean you. So if you're a single parent and you're starting to sort of sharpen your teeth now, saying, right, now we're going to catch those JSAs, they're also going to catch you. You mean, but they don't tell you that. They say we're going to get benefit sheets, and you're waiting for them to count down the job seekers allowance. But that benefit, your single parent allowance also comes under the benefits, and that's also going to be a tax. But you don't realize that. When do you realize it? When you voted them in to get the so-called benefit sheets, which is supposed to be job seekers allowance. And they do, and they may do that. They may go some way towards doing that, but they will also nab you. And then you think, oh, these crooks, I shouldn't have voted for them. But you voted for them under false pretenses because you think they were going to punish someone else who you thought needed to be punished. So it just takes a bit of thinking. I mean, when you use the word benefits, it's a broad term. It means those three terms, as I said. But you know, what I'm saying is the government do this deliberately, knowing what you're thinking, because it's an almost standard thing that when you say benefit sheet, you're thinking people that are job seeking allowance, that's supposed to be looking for jobs while signing on. You don't think it means single parent money or disability money. Benefits is a broad term. You have to be specific. What area of benefits?
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's right. He's right.